Listeners who didn't wish to hear about such things should turn off their radios.
Welcome back to Predictorama 2026, my annual attempt to predict the future of AI, big tech, and all things innovation. Thankfully, I've never really been afraid of iterating and failing in public, which has proven to be oddly useful in the prediction game. This year, I've got 6 predictions, and so with no further ado, let's jump into prediction number 3, gaming and the rise of behavioral commerce. Attention is our most valuable resource in the modern economy. It's not clicks, it's not impressions, it's attention. And every major digital platform, they only exist because we look at them. If we looked away tomorrow, TikTok, Instagram, all of them, they wouldn't just struggle, they would disappear overnight. Everything follows attention, including commerce. Most digital commerce environments assume that you're distracted. They assume that you're scrolling. They assume that you're half watching something and that you're killing time. E-com platforms are incredibly good at one thing: capturing intent after desire already exists. You know what you want, you go, you search, you click, and it shows up on your door tomorrow. It is brutally efficient, but it's not very good at creating desire in the first place. Low attention environments like Amazon and others, they excel at fulfillment, but they're so weak at creating meaning, identity, and building an emotional attachment. And I believe that difference is about to matter a lot. McKinsey recently studied how to measure the quality of attention across the major touch points in the attention economy. So not just time spent, but how focused, intentional, and emotionally engaged people actually are. They looked across roughly 20 environments, so things like social media, streaming video, news, apps, e-com, you name it, and the results were clear. Gaming produced the highest quality digital attention of any medium that they measured. The only thing that ranked higher were live experiences, so things like live sporting events, concerts, monster truck rallies, this kind of thing. McKinsey also found that the more focused the attention, the more valuable that interaction actually is. They even provided a fancy equation for this, which I'll link in the description below for anybody that wants to relive the trauma of Calculus 2. So here's the punchline. Fully focused gaming attention is about 35% more valuable than average digital attention. Great, so what's that mean? It means that 1 minute spent inside of a game is worth 35% more than if that same minute were spent on social, where you're multitasking and inexplicably angry for some reason.
I don't know what we're yelling about!
This makes sense when you actually look at how games work. Gaming is not a low attention environment. They are built for deep attention. When people play games, you're fully locked in. Games demand participation. They require decisions. They involve risks. You care about the outcomes. You're also tied to an identity, how you look, how you show up, how others see you. By extension, they're social. You're not just consuming something alone in your mom's basement. You're inside a shared space in your mom's basement. This combination, though, of sustained emotional, intentional attention is extremely rare in the world, and especially online. That's why gaming stands apart. This isn't about turning everything into a game. It's about what games reveal, about how people behave when the attention is deep. I worked in gaming for about a decade early in my career, and I taught at the Game Center at NYU for several semesters. And one thing was always obvious to me, and it's that games aren't always about entertainment. In fact, I see games simply as testing grounds for the future. Digital identity and self-expression. So many of those things we do online now started with avatars and skins and things like this in games. Persistent social presence started with multiplayer lobbies and guilds way back in games. Staples of the internet like Reddit, chatbots, social media, all of that started in games years before they became mainstream. Those behaviors started in games and then escaped to the rest of the world. And when they escape, they reshape expectations everywhere else online. And commerce is this thing that is changing. commerce behaves differently in games. When attention is deep and behavior is learned inside of an experience, commerce changes. In games, people don't arrive intending to buy anything. They arrive to play. Commerce isn't the goal, it becomes the side effect. And the economics around this are actually really interesting. Of the roughly $190 billion the gaming industry generated last year, about 70% of that came from in-game purchases. So it didn't come from buying the game, it came from purchasing things within the game. Those purchases, they don't interrupt the experience, they reinforce it. They express identity, they signal status, they deepen immersion. That's why they always feel natural. In games, when they're done well, you don't feel like you're being sold to. It's just a natural extension of what you're already doing. And it's not because this is digital, it's because everything is contextual to my attention. This is a different model of commerce. When you look at traditional commerce on platforms like Amazon, which I'm a fan of, to be clear, but they tend to work like this. You have your intent, you search for the product, you compare, and then you buy. Click, click, click. It's linear in the best way possible. But it also assumes that desire already exists, and then it races to capture that transaction. Gaming commerce is totally different. It often starts with a behavior within the game or experience. An identity emerges from that, and multiple identities bounce to create social dynamics. And from that, purchases emerge organically. Discover is experiential. Desire is socially reinforced. And conversion, if you even would call it that, is completely voluntary. I call all of this behavioral commerce, which brings us back to our prediction: gaming and the rise of behavioral commerce. As gaming pulls ahead in this attention economy, commerce everywhere else has to respond. And I think it's going to happen in two ways this year. First, integration. Commerce platforms like Shopify, Amazon, maybe even Walmart. I think we're going to see them start to plug directly into these high attention environments, games, immersive worlds, creator spaces, etc., providing that transactional layer without disrupting what's actually happening within that experience. In this scenario, commerce is going to become more infrastructural in these high immersion environments. Second, adaptation. Traditional commerce environments and brands, I think they're going to start borrowing from what games do really well with that deep attention that creates value and, conversion. Not by gamifying shopping, but by reducing interruptions, by reinforcing identity, by responding to behaviors as they emerge over time. It's not that everything is going to become a game, but it's that everything needs to start learning from them. Because deep attention, that is the currency. And the companies that get that right, that earn that attention, I believe they're going to win. We'll see. If you like this video, please consider subscribing for more predictions on AI, big tech, and innovation. Your guidance counselor would totally approve.
Yeah.